Hello princesses! Today I'm going to be talking about the Mamonde Flower Pop Blushes. I picked these up because they have a flower pattern pressed into the blush and I just thought that they looked really cute. I don't know why, I feel like I'm just obsessed with things that have flower prints in them at the moment. But they have been on my wish list for quite a while. I avoided picking them up because they were more expensive, so around like $9 to $11 US each, and there are 8 colours in the selection. But I eventually bought them on the, I think, New Year's sale at iBuyBeauty, and they were like $8 US each maybe. Still expensive, but very, very cute. The product description for these says, blusher in 8 shades of petals. For fresh looking skin, simply sweep across the apples of the cheek and up to the brow bone to create a soft yet beautiful contour. The packaging of these blushes is very simple. They have a coloured outer that shows you which colour you're picking up and a clear lid, which means that you can see the really pretty flower pattern pressed into the blush. Some of the lids are kind of hard to open and I need to use a bobby pin to kind of like wedge them open, but for the majority they are pretty easy to use. There are 8 shades in the collection and the shade range is really beautiful. They do have different consistencies. There is one that you pretty much cannot see at all on the swatch, and I cannot see it at all on my face either when I apply it. So I don't know if I just got one dud or if that shade in general is just terrible. Not sure. So I'm going to start with shade number 1, which is the lavender colour. I never want to destroy the pretty print on these, but you have to use them at some point. These have a very strong scent. I'm not sure what it is. It's very floral though. It is nice, but very strong. So that is shade number 1 there. It is a very purple. It's kind of like maybe like a pinky toned purple. I don't mind it, but I don't love it. I don't think it looks that good on my skin, but I think it is a really pretty colour. It is pretty true to what you see here, except maybe just a little bit more pinker. So this is shade number 1, Pansy. Shade number 2 is a really pretty classic light pink for me. This is the sort of colour that I use quite a lot, and I feel like this is a really pretty shade for me. It does, however, look a lot like a lot of other blushes that I own, so will I be keeping it? I don't know. I'm going to put it in a pile to swatch next to some of my other favourite blushes to see if I will indeed be keeping it. But that is the pink on one side there. It is super light, it is super natural. I think that it just looks really nice, and it's a little bit hard to see, so that is what it looks like without. And then there is the colour. But this is shade number 2, Pink Rosy. Shade number 3 is really hard for me to open for some reason. This lid gets really stuck, but it's a very interesting like coral colour. It's a bit more orange than I would normally consider coral, but it's kind of the closest shade I can find. It's technically called Sunset Rose. For some reason the pigment is not picking up today. I don't usually have this much trouble with this shade, but it's decided apparently to be a pain today. So that is Sunset Rose there. It is a really nice corally kind of colour. It does pick up a bit more pink on my skin than it does as orange as it does look here. However, I did have a lot of trouble with it today to actually get the pigment on my face. I think I dipped my brush in maybe like 5 or 6 times, which is a little bit ridiculous, and it's still very light. So this is what it looks like without, and then with the colour there. Overall, I think that this colour is really pretty. I think it is very natural on my skin. I don't really gravitate towards it because in real life it does look a bit more vibrant. It does look really nice on camera though. But this is Sunset Rose. Next shade here is a light orange colour. It is very orange. I've swatched it, but I haven't actually put it on my face, so this is going to be an interesting moment for me to, oh god, I hate it already. So this is one of the more pigmented colours, so I only needed one swipe to get what I would consider to be a full cheek of this. I'm going to put on a little bit more so that it shows up a little bit more vibrant on camera. I would never normally wear this much. But this is Dalia. It is a little bit of a shimmery shade, so I can see in the reflection there that it's a little bit bright. I don't love it. I don't love any oranges, so it is not a surprise that I don't like this one. So that is both cheeks with Dalia. I hate it. Especially with both cheeks on. I don't know, can you see that it just looks really bad on me? I don't know, this is how I feel in most oranges. So this is a definite no from me, but it is a pretty colour. If you like that light, kind of like creamsicle-y, like light baby pastel orange, I would pick up Dalia because it is the one for you then. But this is shade number 4, Dalia. The next shade is a much more vibrant orange. This one has a little bit of a red tone to it as well, so it's a little bit more tolerable than number 5. Since this is a darker colour, I take a very small amount on my brush and I do very, very, very light blending, so I feel like I'm kind of like tickling my skin. That just gives me like the easiest application rather than having to go in and like be really forcefully blending it out later. So that only required 2 tiny taps of my blush brush into the container. So that is what my skin looks like without the blush. And then this one is Peony. I don't actually mind the colour of this blush. It's not awful, I just don't gravitate towards it. It's that kind of reddy orange that it does look quite nice on my skin, but I don't know, I feel like it just doesn't fit in with anything else that I do. Like in terms of like lipstick or eye makeup or even like the outfit that I'm wearing for the day. I just feel like it doesn't really fit, although I do think that this looks very nice. So this is shade number 5, Peony. The next shade is a dark rosy kind of colour. It is kind of similar to the next one over, which is Rose Bay. So number 6 is called Camellia. You can see that both of these are those deep red colours. Rose Bay is a bit more of a cool toned red, whereas this is a little bit more of an orangey red. So this is Camellia on my cheek there. I think that it is a really nice colour. I don't know if it's incredibly for me or not. So that is the cheek without. And that is the blush there. I don't know, I'm undecided on this one. What do you guys think? I think it's kind of like, because I wear so many baby pinks and things like that, this one's kind of a bit more adulty for me because it's that sort of like darker rosy kind of colour. But I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of it? It's a little bit shimmery, so I can see like a pinky purple pearlescent sort of shine to it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced. So this one is Camellia. So the last blush colour I have is number 7, which is Rose Bay, and that is that purpley pink colour. This one I theoretically should love, but I can never get any colour. Never. It's just like ridiculously difficult. You can kind of see it, but I'm like really like going into the blush there and pressing hard just to get it to come off. And I'm kind of like ruining the rose petal, which is a shame, but it is a really pretty colour. So that is Rose Bay on both cheeks, and I have really like annihilated the look of the blush to do that, but at least you can see the colour somewhat. It is a really pretty purpley pink colour. I feel like it's quite nice on my skin. It's not too overwhelmingly pink or purple, it's not too dark, but it is really hard to get the actual colour off that because it's just like, I don't know, this one's like especially baked on somehow. So this is Rose Bay. The last colour I'm going to show you, I'm going to keep the last blush on, which is Rose Bay, and I'm going to show you number 8, which is Ginger, because this is kind of like a bronzing contouring colour. It is quite dark and it is quite a like a greyish brown colour, and I have been really liking it actually. So I'm going to use the same blush brush. Normally I would use my big fluffy brush, but I need that for powder today because I'm going to be doing some more swatches. So we're going to give it a go with this brush and see how we do. It is a quite dark colour, so you can see that I'm going back and forth with my brush just to pick up a little bit more of it, but there you go. So you can kind of see the shadow there. It's really hard to see on this side because there's a birthmark in the way. That is not like, it's just a different colour of skin. But that's without, and that is with. I think it creates a really nice looking natural shadow. However, I don't think it does that well around the hairline. Tell me what you guys think. I feel like it kind of looks a little bit too harsh. So that is it up around the hairline there. I feel like I can really see the line. This is why I use a bigger brush. So I don't love it around the edges of my face, but I do love it as a nice cheek moment. And I even like to use it to kind of darken up some of the other bronzers that I have. So like I have the Hula Light, which is just like a nice all over bronzer, but it's not really like a contour kind of colour, because I feel like this is a bit more of a contour colour. And no, you cannot see it that well with the birthmark there, I'm sorry. And so that is my face with a Ginger. I think that it does look really, really nice, but like I said, like it much more for the cheeks rather than around the hairline. I feel like that looks, I don't know, I don't like it. But do tell me what you guys think. So this is Ginger. Overall, I am a fan of some of these and definitely not a fan of quite a lot of them, unfortunately. Probably my favourite shade is the contour shade that I'm holding here. I am wearing it at the moment, and aside from like there's a big patch of it like right here where I've obviously put the brush in the wrong place rather than starting it here, I've plonked it here. It does work pretty well, and I think it's a nice colour because it is more of that ashy sort of brown. It does look really deep, but it is definitely a more grey brown, so I'm actually really enjoying using it. I think if I could find something that was a similar colour but a better formula, I would probably give this one up in favour of something else, because I do find that in general these blushes have what I would consider to be a sticky formula. Doesn't mean that they're actually sticky to the touch, it means that when you place the powder they stick and cling immediately, and it's really hard to blend them afterwards. So unless you use like the lightest feathery fluffy like hand and brush, I find that they just stick to chunks. So if I put the blusher on here to start with, then I'll have a circle like patch of blush. It sticks to the foundation. Doesn't matter what foundation I'm using, it is the blush. There are some really beautiful colours in the collection, so obviously I absolutely adore the lightest pink because it's just a really nice colour for my skin, and this one, because it is a lighter colour, I don't find that that sticky formula is as annoying because it's lighter and you can't see it as much. I was really disappointed in the shade 7 because that is the one that I just couldn't see on my skin at all, and I don't know what is wrong with the formula of this one. It just, even if I'm using my fingers, like I can see a little bit on the tip of my finger there, it's like a pretty rosy pearlescent sort of finish, and then when I swipe it on, like I can see just almost nothing. In comparison to shade 6 there is quite the difference in terms of pigmentation and colour payoff. So I think that I'm going to be keeping a couple of the shades from this collection, but definitely not all of them, because there's not much point keeping something that is a bad colour for me, or just doesn't work with my skin, or doesn't work at all because the colour doesn't come off the actual blush pan. So definitely not a fail. I do like some of them, but if you're a newbie with blush and you have the tendency to pick too much up, I would use like a huge fluffy brush for these and only just like tap 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 into the powder pan and then like really lightly dust it across your cheeks. Otherwise it kind of just sticks and clings to patches, which isn't very flattering. But thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I will see you in the next one.